Don't be distracted by the cuteness. That's how she gets you. Okay. I don't care about things that I cannot necessarily control. And the things that I'm trying to gain control over are the same things that most people are trying to gain control over. Quality of life, quality of sleep, safety, adequate food, as healthy as possible, some pleasure and enjoyment, health, well-being, same as with all of my kids. None of that requires anybody else's permission or approval in either excuse me, confirmation belch, in either quality, quantity, manner, time frame. None of that requires anybody else's permission or agreement or acceptance, because it's what is in my sphere, right? Now, we like people to be in agreement. We like to have a cheering section. We like for people to be on our side and in our corner, to be really good at being a sounding board, to be really good at being a mirror. So when we get to the point of questioning whether or not, we're the asshole, somebody we trust who will call us out, because that's really important. Those kinds of friends are really important to have. I have a few of those, and I, over the years, have definitely utilized them, going, this is a situation I found myself in. This is how I'm handling it or trying to handle it. Am I the asshole? Usually thoughts and narratives in our mind are not what happen in real life. But then when they do happen, it's always in a way that we didn't quite account for. On occasion, it's actually very much the way that we totally thought about. Like right now, I don't care if somebody doesn't think I'm pretty, or because I'm not wearing makeup. I could give fuck all about makeup right now. Like a lot of us, I'm confused, I'm concerned, mixed with scared, mixed with apprehensive, mixed with the urgency to prepare, mixed with the frustration of where I'm currently at in life, and the fact that it's about to get exponentially harder in ways that I can't quite imagine yet. The whole slow slide into social devastation is not a fucking fun slide, because those of us who are in the know can see it as it's happening. Like, I would almost prefer something apocalyptic that to then deal with versus this slow thing. The slow thing is supposed to give us time to prepare, but I could barely put food on the fucking table to the quality that I want it to be at. And the compromises that I'm having to make, because the higher income that I'm making, that more now than I was, 5 or 6 years ago, even though it is currently being impacted by other events, I could do things better back then, 6 or 7 years ago. And that wasn't necessarily due to which person was in office versus Obama or Trump's first term. It actually had nothing to do with either one of those guys, and everything to do with how stable everything was at the time. Trump came into office and started to destabilize things. And then, I could start seeing stuff. I mean, I voted that year in 2016, and then I was busy very much trying to take care of the things that I needed to take care of. Yeah, trying to figure things out. And remembering 2016 was a very tumultuous year. But it's something that all of us are struggling with in some respect. The wealthy, I mean, the people who are legitimately in the top 1% are keeping an eye out, but they're relatively okay, and they're probably going to be okay. People who are in the top 10%, that can disappear on them very, very quickly. They're comfortable. And then the rest of us are just, scrambling. How we resist is individuals getting together with other individuals within communities and the communities at large, standing up to the no. Okay? That's how resistance continues. Because there's going to be a point where it'll be asked for you to join or face the consequences. And a lot of people will be scared into joining. There's more of us than there are of them. So they have to intimidate and frighten and do something very, very devastating to scare the rest of us into agreeing with allowing it to continue. And right now we can't quite see how to get out of it. And I don't think we're going to make it to the midterms. Somehow I think we're going to have a very real constitutional crisis really, really soon. I cannot expend my energy constantly going down into various stupid rabbit holes or having stupid arguments with stupid people. Something my 15-year-old said the other day when I was calling him out on a decision that he had made. And he said, no, it wasn't a stupid thing, it was a dumb thing. And I'm like, okay. He's like, because dumb is when you do something out of ignorance. And really what he did was he was ignorant about something and didn't realize what the decision would do, and he learned from it. But he was being dumb, and he made a dumb decision. Stupidity. Stupidity is special. Stupidity is where you know you could be wrong. Something's telling you that you don't know enough, and you're probably wrong. There's little things going off in your head, and you completely ignore them and do it anyways. Say it anyways. Think it anyways. Because you're hearing things that make you question just a little bit, and then you push the question away. That's stupidity. Hold my beer is two things. Is seeing an opportunity, making a crazy decision and going for it. Or knowing that you are probably wrong and thinking you can bully your way through it, or somebody's going to, figure it out, or the consequences aren't going to be there at all or that big, and just doing it anyways. I do not care about trying to yell at people for their electoral decisions, because there are so many people who just didn't come. And there were so many millions of people, I think, between 4 and 6 million people who were removed from the rolls across red states in very specific areas, in a purge that was not legal. And there's other numbers out there. Things were fought and reversed and changed and whatnot, so it's a little bit difficult. We don't have final numbers for stuff. But it's not about trying to chase down a possibility, because then you just sound like the other fucking side. Except that's the problem with the other fucking side being as loud as they are, as obnoxious as they are, and having been a narrative for the last 5 years, is that then that narrative falls in deaf ears when it's actually a true thing. When an election was actually negatively impacted. When things were done in order for it not to be fair. We individuals want control of our lives. And most individuals just want to control their world immediately around them. Their comfort, their safety. That's what we care about. It is a special few who care about controlling others. Now, there are personalities that want to do that. And some of those personalities become CEOs or build organizations or, join the military or whatnot. And sometimes they get a lot of power. Sometimes they realize to the extent of their power because somebody higher up recognizes their bad virtues and blocks them from getting any further. So they just wreak havoc right around them. And they're going to do that probably for the rest of their lives until something clicks and they work to better themselves. But there are a few others who think egotistically that they're maybe the second Moses. As our current House Speaker once claimed to be. God spoke to him and he was Moses come again to lead the people from I don't know what. But when people start talking about that themselves like that, red flag, ding ding ding. I don't give a shit what you do on church on Sundays or the synagogue or the temple or the mosque on Saturdays. I don't care how many times a day you pray. I don't care what the fuck ever you need to align and get connected and feel a part of the world. I don't care. As long as it doesn't require hurting children or forcing little girls to marry too young, or forcing women to marry at all, or forcing men out of the community because they're potentially rivals for available women, as some extreme religious communities in the United States and other places do. I care if you run afoul of the law and you hurt people. Outside of that, I don't care. You do you, boo. Your religious convictions do not affect me and what I believe in. But I watch what you do. Not just what you say, but what you actually do, what your actions are. And if you are somebody who's stopping and helping people, not for show, not for the recording, not for ego, but who supports helping people in all places, in tough places. If you are somebody who acts like the priest in Les Miserables, who lets the convict take the silver because he had come to you in a broken mess and he just needed somebody to believe in him, that I can support. Believing in people and giving them chances. I also support really healthy boundaries. What is my point here? My point is I am in my own space and place, and I have to figure out, as an average citizen, how the fuck to handle things happening. And the first thing I need to handle is my weight. I am heavier than I was when I had my first baby. And hate it. I hate it. I do not hate the fact that I am wearing this incredibly soft and lovely stitch. I love this. And yes, you've seen me in a other pajama-like clothes. These are comfy clothes. Actually, these are not pajamas. They're my comfy clothes. They're comfortable and relaxing, and I like it. I like to be in comfort. I'm not going to go out of my way to put makeup on right now because I don't fucking feel like it. I've got bigger things to try and figure out right now. That's the whole point, is there's more important things to figure out than whether or not you think I look pretty enough for you. This isn't about me being pretty. This isn't about me being at a sexy weight. But part of me resisting is becoming healthier and focusing in on that, healthier and stronger and capable, so that I can survive the things that are coming down the pike. So I can make quick decisions with the understanding of the world around me. And I can't do understanding of the world around me by hiding, by ignoring, but I also can't do it by going down stupid rabbit holes that really don't matter. So I'm not going to argue with people on the internet. And I tend to do that. You cannot pound an ideology or a belief out of someone any more than you can pound something into them. They just have to come to it. We all have been exposed to incredibly good things and incredibly bad things. But the thing about America is we've never had a major crisis of the nature that is building up right now. I think it is at once the smartest place to try and do this, but also the dumbest place to try and do this. The experiment continues. Even if it looks like it's falling apart, the experiment continues. But we as individuals can't give a shit about what the greater jackasses are doing, and the point is not to fight or have an argument with somebody. They want you to get stuck in the nitnoid so you aren't paying attention to what they're doing. Get healthy. Make sure you got as much good food as you possibly can. And every once in a while, buy shelf staple food. Start building a go bag for you and your kids. Your kids are going to have to fucking carry something. Figure out where you're going to go. Have a map of either the area or the destination. Do not mark it. Don't mark the endpoint. Don't do that. Have little tiny pencils with erasers and something to be able to shave it down. Have a variety of pocket knives. Have a variety of items and maybe little picture books that are plastic covered that show you or the kids how to make a fire, how to make an easy shelter, what to put into it. Start watching those videos. Start figuring that out. Because either there's three things that happen. Either you get picked up and move somewhere, you stay in place, or you go somewhere voluntarily, on foot. I'm not preparing for what's happening tomorrow necessarily, because right now, as of Monday, February 10th, 2025, nothing huge is going to lock down tomorrow. But I have to be prepared to do something. And that's an extremely scary realization. I cannot care about the other bullshit anymore. So no, I'm not going to be on here with makeup. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and it's going to look really, really silly. But there's point to it, because I don't think I've collected the tools that I've collected without a reason. And this situation we're in our country is not necessarily the forefront of that reason. I think we need to be very, very aware. And you buy a little bit of extra stuff and put it away. Rice, dried beans, flour, salt. Okay? Because flour and salt, rising flour, you don't even need anything to rise. You don't even need to leaven it. You can make type of bread, a flat bread, without having any leavening ingredients, without, needing to put baking soda or baking powder or anything else in there. Salt, flour, water, you can make something that you can eat and pack and carry. Okay? Know where you might need to head towards. Start having conversations around, can we have an area? It needs to be a place where a community is already in place or built, where they will have access to water, to arable land for food, and good supply of animals. Okay? So do not try and do it alone. Try and do it as a community, because there's more of us than there are of them. And the reason why I think this is the dumbest place to pull this shit is because it's fucking America. As soon as you start ratcheting down, there's going to be a component of good old boys who are going to do some absolutely abominable, stupid shit. Except they're not that many. Because once they get shown what a real fight is, they lose their appetite. There were several thousand, I think 10 to 20,000 people on January 6th. There were probably about 2,000 people who actually went in and out, who actually did the damage and did stuff. There were a lot more who went, oh fuck, and walked the other way, because that's not what they signed up for. Or they did, they got partly in the middle of it, and they're like, this doesn't seem like the place to be. And they hightailed it out of there. There's more of us than there are of them. We do not have to agree to everything. But we do have to agree on the fundamentals. We want everybody to be safe, and we want to maintain our constitutional freedoms. And the moment that those freedoms are taken away from other people, and slavery is allowed, and all of these other things happen, the moment the courts no longer have the power, the moment the Supreme Court especially is ignored by this administration, is the moment you know there are no guardrails. All the calls are coming from inside the house. We've already let the foxes into the hen house. Hell, we've already let the wolves into the fucking cattle pen. We've stopped shooting at them. Wolves are going to do what wolves do. I actually like wolves. I don't have anything against them, but we didn't let them in sheep's clothing, although they tried to give a mouthful of bullshit at the hearings. They got in because we didn't have enough people who said no on one particular side, and that is very concerning. America's not going to look the same. And I don't care what your bullshit is. I care about my bullshit and what I need to do to make sure my family survives. You need to stop caring about the bullshit and start caring about yourself and your community, and where you will be able to find safety in a community. You can't do that by being an asshole. You're just going to say no. Then you'll be by yourself and you'll have to figure that shit out. Figure it out. Okay?